mission is to inspire our viewers to thrive, not just survive. Let's take a moment to introduce your Thrive Tribe. Noelle Ramos, financial coach from Atlanta, Georgia. Sabrina Protip, author and life coach from Tampa Bay, Florida. Stacy Soley, menopause coach from Palm Harbor, Florida. Gina Marie Casano, transformational coach from Bayville, New York, along with our business correspondents. Dana Washington, real estate investor from Tampa Bay, Florida. Deidre Pittman, tax strategist from Tampa Bay, Florida. Brianna Johnson, financial coach out of Chicago, Illinois. And Sylvia Camacho, financial coach from California. Now let's get ready to be empowered, and here's your Thrive Tribe. Thriving Women Talk is powered by the Trendsetter Mentor Group, an exclusive membership for mentorship on Facebook.
All right. And here we are. All right, everyone. Hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to Thriving Women Talk. My name is Gina Casano, and I am honored to be here with the Thrive Tribe, our guests, and all of you, our listeners from across the globe. Our mission each week is to encourage, enlighten, and empower our viewers to thrive to become their best version of themselves. We have an inspiring and empowering show for you today. The Thrive Tribe is empowered to convey awareness on the impact that global warming is having on our weather patterns and natural disasters. And what can we do as consumers to reduce the level of carbons in the air to save our planet? We're going to talk more about that a little later on. In today's Smart Money segment, we will talk about the installation of solar panels on our homes to save money and energy. We will discuss the pros and cons and hear the facts. And then in our life strategy segment, we're going to discuss the growing trend of the 30-day fitness challenges that you see all over social media and the psychological impact that these challenges have on us. So today we invited Whitney Gonzalez Hartford, mother of 3, along with her workflow management coach, Genesis Hay Crick, a mother of 4 children, to the show. Whitney will share why she was inspired to take on this 90-day squat and fitness challenge. And Genesis will share how she is empowering mothers to practice time blocking to accomplish more and take time out for themselves, something that we don't often see. So welcome to the show, Whitney and Genesis. It's so nice to have you here. And before we welcome you in even further, Sabrina, tell us about your profile story in the MTM magazine and what good news report you have for us today.
Yes, Gina, thank you. I tell you that profile meant a lot to me. I lost my job of 41 years back in April. And, it's the kind of thing like, do I tell everybody about that? That could be embarrassing, that here you were seen as a person who was accomplished and had it all, and then you lost it all. And I shared it with my network that, I myself, this icon of a woman who was an author, a publisher, a speaker, a life coacher, that now I had a pitfall in my life and I was pivoting into new space. As you well know, I'm a financial coach. And by me sharing my pitfall, sharing my story, it intrigued a lot of people because it's really a story of survival. And I don't know if most of you realize, but I lost all sources of income. I had residual income coming. That went away because of the public appearances. Okay, fine. I got the day job. Well, shortly after that, like within a month, I lost the day job, and that was like goose eggs, all forms of income. And I immediately just pivoted and went into financial coaching, and the story was appealing to people. And so they showed this woman who wasn't, crying about it. If you see the photos, I mean, there's energy there and there's life. And that's what they wanted to show, was that here's survival. Here's pivot, pandemic survival. So I'm very, very happy with the outcome. And because of that article, now I've been picked up to do some podcasts and also another TV interview that I'll be doing this week. So by sharing your low points, people lift you up. So that's a lesson, Doc. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I've hit this wall. And you'd be amazed at the people that support you, Gina. So I'm really happy about that. On another note, if I will, I'd like to share something with you that we want to inspire you as our listeners. And I'm going to be reading this because it's just really that important. This is from the Pfizer website. So Pfizer reported on their website on Monday that today was a great day for science and humanity. The first set of results from our phase 3 COVID-19 vaccine trials provided the initial evidence of our vaccine ability to prevent, not just treat, but to prevent COVID-19, Dr. Albert said, Bioria. Pfizer chairman CEO said, "We're reaching this critical milestone in our vaccination development program at a time when the world needs it most, with infection rates setting new records, hospitals nearing overcapacity, and economies struggling to reopen. With today's news, we are in a significant step closer to providing people around the world with a much needed breakthrough to help bring an end to the global health crisis. We look forward to sharing additional efficacy and safety data generated from thousands of participants in the coming weeks." After discussion with the FDA, the companies recently elected to drop the 32-case interim analysis and conduct the first interim analysis at a minimum 62 cases. Upon the conclusion of these discussions, the evaluable case count reached 94, and the DMC performed its first analysis on all cases. The case split between the vaccinated individuals and those who received the placebo indicates a vaccine efficacy of about 90% at 7 days after the second dose. This means that protection is achieved 28 days after the initiation of the vaccination, which consists of 2 doses a schedule. As the study continues, the final vaccine efficacy percentage may vary. The DMC has not reported any serious safety concerns and recommends that the study continue to collect additional safety data. The data will be discussed with regulatory authorities worldwide. You can find the story on their website. That's www.pfizer, that's PFIZER.com/news/press-release. Gina, what do we have going here?
Lots to be hopeful for here. Let's move on. Noelle, how was your weekend, and what YouTube video are we sharing today with our viewers?
Oh, thank you, Gina. My weekend was pretty great. I don't know about you. I know Sabrina's a financial coach, but as an investments coach, I've been watching the Dow Jones, and with the hopes of these new vaccines for the COVID, and with, of course, the elections going on, the Dow Jones has been pretty good right now. It's been pretty good, and it's been up right now. So that's something that was look forward to over the weekend. But I want to share with you a short YouTube video on how solar panels work. And then we're going to have an open discussion with our Thrive Tribes about the pros and the cons of just installing these solar panels onto our homes. And we're going to share some expert advice from ZME Science website. So Alan, if you could play that solar panel video, that would be great.
Solar power is the most abundant renewable energy resource we have available on Earth. Solar-generated electricity is created by using technology field-tested and improved upon since the 19th century. When sunlight hits the modules on a solar photovoltaic, or PV, installation, the modules convert the sun's energy into electricity that can be used to power your home. Whether the electricity is being drawn from a PV installation or a utility company, your home's power performance will stay the same. The direct current, or DC power, that the installation produces is wired into an inverter. This inverter converts the DC power into an alternating current, better known as AC power. This AC power is the standard electrical current used for powering most homes, appliances, and luxuries throughout the world. The electrical current then flows from the inverter to the home's electrical service panel that feeds electricity into the household. An optional tracking meter can keep track of a home's total electrical consumption, the total output of the solar installation, and more. These tracking systems often have live display systems or online monitors, so you can track how much of your home's electricity needs are being met by your system's production and how well your system is performing at any point in time. During the day, if the solar system's production exceeds the house's electrical needs, the excess electricity is fed back into the power grid. When this occurs, you can observe the electrical meter spin backwards. Most local governments have a system of credits set in place that require utility companies to buy this excess energy back for various renewable energy standards, portfolios, and goals. In addition to reducing your electric bill, these credits can be sold to utilities. This generates revenue to pay back your cost of investment for the PV system and eventually turn a profit. At night, or any time a household is using more electricity than a solar installation is producing, the extra energy needed to power the house is pulled from the grid, as it normally would be. When you install a solar system on a home, the only noticeable difference you'll see is on your electric bill. Investing in a PV system is a smart, sensible choice that pays for itself over time by harnessing the most abundant, free form of energy available to us today: solar power. It benefits you, the environment, and the world's standard of living.
Welcome back, everybody. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like I was back in high school watching that video. Gina, what do we have today for discussing the pros and cons?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So we're going to discuss the pros and cons of using solar as renewable and clean energy, as well as the cost savings of installing solar panels on your home, and also saving our planet. We're going to share some research that we found at zmescience.com. So let's start with the pros. Solar power systems still generate some emissions and pollution during their manufacturing process. However, during their operation, solar panels don't generate any additional greenhouse gases that warm the atmosphere. Once your solar power system is set up, you can live comfortably knowing that your home is not making a negative impact on the environment. Solar power is also renewable, meaning it will never run out. As long as the sun is here, it will never run out. So fossil fuels like coal and oil, on the other hand, are depletable. In the case of oil, at least experts forecast it will run out in a couple of decades, if not sooner. And so by hopping over to solar, we are hastening society's transition towards renewable energy. Sabrina, would you share how solar panels can save homeowners money?
Yes, Gina, thank you. So solar can save a lot of money. This is one of the main advantages. When you use solar energy, you rely less on your utilities. Hey, that's a hint. It's going to save a little bit of money there. And save a little bit on electricity. Consequently, your bills go down. And you can even earn a credit on your statement. Electricity companies also pay customers for using the panels for extra energy that they don't consume during the month. So you make a little bit of money. How's that? Instead of paying the the electricity company, they actually pay you. So this improves the value of your home. And according to recent studies, a property value increases after solar is installed. Many people that would much rather move into a home that already is powered by solar. So it's kind of a hassle-free thing. They don't have to worry about getting the solar installed, having a loan to pay the solar panels, so their margin of investment is much lower. So they really appreciate that. It's a great selling tool for selling a home. So really, this makes it a lot easier, makes a decision easier for investing in solar panels, knowing that you can turn a profit when you go to sell your house, in addition to getting money back from the solar company, from the power company. Dana, let's talk about the cost a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Sabrina, the cost of installing and maintaining solar energy panels is high in the beginning, but for some areas that aren't able to receive electricity the traditional way, adding these benefits can be a huge help for those folks. Some areas that are considered remote or off the grid, the electric companies cannot add those areas to the grid matrix, so they can't install electricity. These areas actually use solar power so that they can work devices such as a microwave, washer and dryer, and the internet. So in some states, it's debatable whether or not solar can be a good cost. But as in terms of remote and off the grid locations are concerned, solar almost always beat the diesel gas-fired generators. So Noelle, what other benefits of solar energy?
Yeah, Dana, thank you for that. So I was actually reading into about the solar because I was concerned. It's just like, well, what do I do? What happens whenever it's cloudy out or it's raining? So they actually have it where they have if I was reading it correctly, like I guess an energy box where you can bank where you use the unused electricity, I guess. Don't quote me on it because I just read about it. But you can save it for when you need it and have it there available. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like on a rainy day, it's there and it's available. And they also have it where, they don't necessarily have to be on the roof. They can actually also be on the ground. And another pro about having solar is that they're pretty quiet. They're quieter than a heartbeat. And these solar panels make no noise whatsoever, and because they don't really contain any moving parts. That's unless you order a PV array, and that's a rotational axis, and that actually follows the sun throughout the daytime. And I think that's pretty cool. But even when you have that, the noise is barely even noticeable, so you don't really notice that either. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Some of the pros for having solar energy, pretty interesting anyways. But right now we're going to take a sponsored break. And when we come back, we're going to continue our discussion we're going to start discussing the cons of using solar panels on our homes. And we'll be right back.
Moses is with us in New York. Hey, Moses, how are you?
Good. By the grace of God, doing better than I deserve, and I already know you're doing the same.
Just the same. How can I help?
Yeah, so I am currently consumer debt free. I have a mortgage to pay. I just bought a house, and I was wondering what your thoughts are on installing solar panels paid in full in cash. Your thoughts on that?
Well, they have come a long way in the last decade in terms of efficiency, and your return on investment is a lot better than it used to be. Obviously, some areas of the country get more sun than other areas, and so in your particular area, they can do a pretty good analysis. And the other piece of information that enters into it is the cost of utilities in your area. And so we are in Tennessee. We have this thing called TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, that has worked very well to keep our utility costs way lower than most of the rest of the country. But for instance, in California, where the utility costs are very high and there's a lot of sun, it makes a ton of sense to do solar. in an area like Tennessee, it can make sense, or an area like New York, it can make sense. You just would have to run the numbers out on it, and probably one of the solar guys can give you some really solid data on it, because it has to do with number of hours of sunshine in a year, and the cost of utilities gives you your payback on it, right? That's your return on investment. But the good news is they have become much more reasonable in cost and much more efficient. The technology is improving every day in that world. And so I'm a big fan of solar panels. I endorse them in several cities around America with local people that install them. And I've looked at the numbers on those. I don't, in full disclosure, I don't have them on my home because I haven't found the way I wanted to do it. I live on the side of a hill with a lot of wind. And so anyway, I'm not doing it. But but mathematically, if you're paying cash for them, no payments, in some areas, the return on investment is excellent. In other areas, it's good. And so you just look at what your break even is. And, of course, you'd want to break even on them before you sold the house. Right. Because the idea that they increase the value of the house by the cost of the solar panels is not true in most areas. You need to make your money back on the utility bill. And then if your house brings a little more because it's got panels on it later when you sell it, fine. So in other words, you got to break even on the solar panel of 3.5 years, and you're going to sell your house in 2 years. You don't want to buy them. But if you're going to stay in the home a long time, then you can run the analysis with some local people in your area. And my general comment is, in general, I'm a fan. In some areas, I'm a big fan of the math.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button to get the latest content and check out these other great clips from the show.
Thriving Women Life Strategies is powered by Women Entrepreneurial Empowerment, commonly called WEE. The organization's mission is empowering women entrepreneurs through a platform of visibility, education, and strategic growth and development within the networking arena. Their doors are open to women of all ages, millennials, new startups, small business, and those needing a boost. If you are committed to excellence and you want to know more about WEE platform, message founder Sabrina Protic on Facebook or email her at www.agelesstechniques.com. Back to Thriving Women Talk.
Welcome back, everyone, to Thriving Women Talk. So if you're just tuning into the show, we have been discussing how global warming is changing our weather patterns and how it's becoming, creating a more devastating natural disasters. So we here decided to just use our platform to enlighten you, our listeners, on ways that we can help our planet by using solar energy. So we previously discussed the pros of installing solar panels on our homes, and now you've heard the Dave Ramsey. He shared his personal viewpoint and how he was for it. So now we're going to discuss some of the cons. So I want to reach out to Dana and have her get us started on this conversation.
Yes, Noelle. The solar panels, they may be expensive to install. Areas closer to the equator have far greater potential of producing solar electricity than those areas closer to the poles or areas that are consistently receiving greater sun. They have more potential of producing energy than frequently overcast. Luckily, most of the United States have a great potential for solar energy. For the absolute best solar resource in the United States, think Southwest. Sylvia, I have a question for you. Do you have solar panels?
Dana, that's a good question. No, I don't. And now that I'm seeing that my cost of my electrical bill is a little bit high, I think it's time for me to install those panels. Because on summertime, my electrical bill is high, the roof, super high. And now I'm assuming now that winter's coming, again, another thing is going to be so expensive. So that's something that I live in California. And like Dave Ramsey said, we have a lot of sun. And yeah, It's something that I'm considering now, going solar, just because to save my electrical bills and be even. But in another case, your roof might not be enough. The more energy you use, the more space is required in order to host more solar panels. Solar panels are great because you can install them on your home's rooftop without the need of any additional space. Part of the batteries in the garage, for instance, it just takes not a lot of space, but just enough for those batteries. However, if you're really burning a lot of energy, the rooftop might not be enough. Solar energy works during the cloud and rainy days, but its efficiency drops significantly. Just a few clouds or rainy days could have noticeable effect on your energy bill's bottom line. And that's a good idea, to have that electrical panels, and you don't have to worry about paying that electrical bill at the end of the month. That will be something to consider. And most importantly, solar energy cannot be collected during the night, which forces you to install batteries to store energy. Gina, what do you have for us?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, storing solar energy can have initial high costs. You can use solar energy during the night hours, thanks to the batteries that are being charged during the day. But these batteries run from a few $100s to over $1,500. They weigh from 60 to 420 pounds. That's a big range, right? You can store them in a place that won't get wet and damage the battery, as well as buy accessories such as a cord, replaceable cells, which need to be replaced every 15 to 20 years, which isn't so bad, right? I just want to make sure that we all understand Thriving Women is not promoting the purchase or the use of solar panels. We are just simply here educating you on the pros and the cons. And we want you to do your own homework, right? We're not endorsing any one business. We're not endorsing anything. And we're here to create awareness. We want you to do your own homework and your research. And we hope that what we're talking about here today inspires you to take the next step by finding out more on your own. You can get information by searching news.energysage.com for helping smarter energy decisions, for helping you make those energy decisions. And when we come back from our sponsor break, we're actually going to introduce our life strategy segment topic, 90-day fitness challenges on social media, and our Thriving Women guests, Genesis Crick and Whitney Hartford.
For more episodes of the Thriving Women Talk Show, visit the Mindshift Coaching Services YouTube channel and subscribe. Experience the shift with transformational coaching through Mindshift Coaching Services. Our expertise is in mindset, habit, and behavior change, providing total support and accountability. Together, we will transform your pain into power using transformational coaching method techniques to guide you towards creating a clear vision and purpose while aligning your actions with your goals. To learn more, visit mindshiftcoaching.com. Now, back to Thriving Women.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Thriving Women. Let's go over to Sabrina.
I was watching that video. I'm thinking, I cannot remember the last time I did a sit-up. That's probably not going to happen for me. I applaud these young people, though. Great job on that video. But let's talk a minute about that. Let's talk about these exercise initiatives and workout initiatives that's going on around us. Millions of people around the world are now turning to TikTok for their workouts. It's the latest trend to come out of the app, which is arguably social media's biggest quarantine success story. Why not? Shelter in place, do a workout, do a sit-up. So TikTok users, they're posting and creating fun and new ways to stay healthy. TikTok influencers called Demi Bagby, who's a 19-year-old CrossFit athlete and bodybuilder, has over 11.8 million followers on TikTok. That's crazy numbers. And over 208 million likes. I mean, I'm trying to get 1,000 likes. So she posts workout tutorials as well as impressive videos on herself doing backflips and speed running. Her videos are usually focused on strengthening specific body parts. While they're pretty straightforward workouts, the videos have TikTok written all over them. Great branding. So to help understand this surge in viewership, we invited Whitney and Genesis on the show to share with our viewers what inspired them to use this great phenomenon called social media as a way to get the message out to mommies to take on their fitness challenges and how this is inspiring to them. So, Whitney, we want to thank you and Genesis for taking out the time to join us on Thriving Women. And we want you to share something with us for a minute. Can you share with our viewers what inspired you to start posting these fitness challenges on videos, and how has this empowered you to overcome the stress of being a full-time mommy, Whitney?
Well, I just want to let you guys know firsthand, I know the obstacles of childbirth and having children, multiples at that. So I know the obstacles it is to overcome the healing process, the weight loss challenge to get back to your pre-pregnancy body. And it's a mental challenge. So the reason why I decided to do these videos was to inspire myself. And I knew if I inspired myself, then I could inspire other people. And also my children love it. Like if I can do it with them, then they get excited. They see me bopping around. I have the music on. So it's a great stress reliever for me. It's a goal that I wanted. You know, I want to get rid of my little mom tum. And I know that I have one, and I know it's a process. I know my girls are about to be, or I'm sorry, they just turned a year old. So I am right there with all of us ladies that have gone through the process. I just want to be strong for myself and for you guys to help you guys see that we could get through anything we put our mind to. You know, I had some dark times, and now, you know, doing these videos have just pushed me to continue. The sky's really the limit, you know?
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's bring Genesis on. We want to get her take on something. Genesis. So Genesis on. There she is. You're a mother of 4 children. You've inspired hundreds of mommies just like Whitney to take accountability for their schedule and using the time blocking system. So can you give us a brief description on how this time blocking works for mommies?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on today. Absolutely love this show. I love everything that you're about. And it's an honor to be here as always. So time blocking is so crucial in motherhood and in any endeavor that you get yourself involved with that requires a lot of time, requires a lot of energy. And what time blocking does is it really helps you to associate the time you have with specific activities. So an example of a time blocking system would be looking over the course of your week, picking out specific times. We'll look at for example, we'll look at Monday through Friday. So we picked Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to time block out a specific activity, whatever activity that is your priority for that week. So we can say we're looking at some business building opportunities. Perhaps, we'll condense it to you're wanting to do a new logo. So all of the processes that go into building that logo would be in that time block on that Monday, Wednesday, Friday period. So in order for us to be successful with this, we have to write it down. We have to map it out. So we want to be able to rely on something else rather than just our memory. If we don't have a planner, we don't have a journal, we don't have something concrete to associate this time with, it's going to be really hard to stay consistent. So for example, if we're looking at over the course of our week and we are implementing this time period, that allows us to stay consistent with whatever goals we are trying to achieve. So you want to make sure that you have consistency with the time. Otherwise, your schedule can go all haywire. Things can get all over the place. And it's so easy for that to happen, especially for new moms, for individuals that are just starting out in their businesses, entrepreneurs. It can be really challenging. So there's entry-level steps and ways to start with time blocking. You don't have to think about this as something that's extremely overwhelming. You can just go ahead and decide what it is that you want to do and start figuring out what times in the week make the most sense.
Thank you, Genesis. Noelle, you want to lean in?
Gina, I think Gina had something she wanted to say first. Sorry.
Yeah. Hi, I do. I just wanted to add on and Genesis, I love what you're doing. One of the things that I found as a coach myself is that working with parents, especially moms, is that they don't make time for themselves. Everyone's put forward first and they are put back on the back burner. It's more frequently I see this with mothers than with fathers, but moms are used to being that nurturer, being the caretaker, and the house and their own careers if they have, or the children and the school, and there's so much happening. And how do you then balance what's actually happening, what you need as a mom, right? As a woman first, and a mom, right? How do you balance that, right? So what I love what you say is blocking time. I use that with all my clients is this time that you're blocking out has to be a dedicated time for you and non-negotiable, right? Yes. Aligning with your priorities. And if you ask a mom who hasn't had this conversation around what her top 5 priorities are, more than likely, none of those 5 are about her. And so what I like to do and what I love to see you doing is encouraging people to block time and make time for what they need and what they want. And that is just so powerful. I love what you're doing.
And it's so true, Gina. It's so true. And I see it with 95% of my clients as well, that they are not taking out that time for themselves. So then they continue to go into a downward spiral. They continue to feel that burnout, that sense of overwhelm. And it's a matter of taking the time to say, I matter. I am a priority. I am a part of this equation just as much as everybody else. So in order for moms to thrive, they have to have themselves at the pinnacle of the things that they do. And I know that for so many of us, that sounds selfish, or that sounds like, oh, I want to put myself first. And it almost seems kind of scary. But if we're not able to do what we do well, how can we give of ourselves the way that we need to in order to help others? And so that's my constant reminder to those that have humbled themselves and feel that they don't want to put themselves first, is that if you can be your best self, if you can be thriving and you're firing on all cylinders, think about how much more of an impact you can make in the lives of your children and the people that you serve and your employees, anybody that you're working with, anybody that you're close to. If you have everything that you need and your cup is full, imagine what you can give versus it being a forceful. So that's
coming from a depleted cup, right? Yeah. There's a difference coming from a full cup and making sure that your needs are taken care of versus coming from a cup of feeling low energy and depleted.
Genesis really helped me with that too. She did.
Yeah. And what I love what you said is how that has an impact on all of your relationships, not just yourself, but your children, but everyone, your partner, your family, your colleagues, your friends, right? How you
absolutely
very different. So thank you so much. All right, Noelle.
Thank you, Genesis, for that. I mean, I don't necessarily have children, but I love the fact that you're talking about time blocking and making sure. I mean, I still find myself where I don't always make time for myself, even though I do other jobs. I do other things. So it's just like we still need to take that time to pamper ourselves regardless. So I just want to reach out to Whitney. It says you're married with 3 children. I know 2 of them are twins.
Yes, double trouble.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So how do you use this time blocking method to make these videos? And I want to see how that has impacted you directly.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, talking to Genesis and really getting down to what I wanted to accomplish for myself was a huge thing in terms of time blocking. Like, you have to know what your focus is, what your goal is with these blocks of time. So, talking to Genesis, she allowed me to figure out when can I feed the girls, and then when do I have these gaps of time to be able to get in a workout video and find comfort in my chaos. The one thing I think I really spoke to her about was, I'm so stressed out. And she really told me is like, life is going to happen, expect the unexpected. That's one thing I live with by her words is finding my own comfort in my own chaos. And, I can be happy with the craziness going on around me, but I do have little windows. I have 30 minutes here. I have 45 minutes there. Even with or without the girls, part of the reason why I did this challenge is because I can do it with or without them, but it's nice to be able to put them away for independent play and maybe work on, working out or relaxing or another business I've started on the side, little things that I can take the time to give me baby steps to where I want to be instead of feeling like I'm juggling and my life is all over the place. That's how I started out. And now I just feel so much more stress-free and the sky's the limit. Now I feel more empowered, and I want to share that because you feel so constricted as a mother when you're giving everything to yourself. And to have that freedom to grow and develop how you want to be on top of sharing that with your children and family is just, it's amazing.
I was listening to you, Whitney, and just truly inspiring, truly empowering, just for you to hear you say, with twins, you're becoming more stress-free. I didn't know that was possible.
It is.
So I'm so happy to hear that. And I'm glad you have this program in place and you're shooting for the moon. That's amazing. I love it. So I want to reach out to Genesis. So you are an author, a workflow management coach, and you are married with 4 children. Whew. And you post on your Facebook on your page, balance in life is joining together each pillar, which excludes a piece of our soul, and then obtaining pure joy when we allow the ideal time pattern to exist for each area of importance. Can you just break that down a little bit more for us, please? I would love to hear. Yeah, a different take. Yeah,
it's very deep.
Yeah,
but in other words, it's just basically saying if you have all of the areas and pillars, areas. I like to look at the wheel. So, like, if you can picture a wheel or a pie and look at every significant area that's important to you, your hobbies, your interests, your business, your relationships, children, and each little piece of the pie, what that is basically saying is if you can come together to find a balance where there's positive energy emanating in each area, that you're being lifted up, that your cup's being filled up, that is when we feel the greatest level of joy, the greatest level of fulfillment, the ultimate happiness. And I don't want to get away from the fact that we are always growing. We're always working towards something, that we're never perfect. There's always going to be some kind of setback. There's always going to be an area that we can work on. But as I always tell my clients, that's what makes life so beautiful. That's what makes life so exciting, is that we have an area to focus on. We have an area that we can constantly nurture. to become more, to have more, to be more filled up. And so as we go throughout our days, there is going to be things that we learn from, there's going to be challenges, but every single thing that we experience is also a learning experience, whether we feel like it's a negative or a positive. So the idea behind that post and that statement is to constantly be looking at ways that we can nurture all of those areas of our life and look at how we can grow them. And sometimes what ends up happening is we have one area that gets so far down, and speaking specifically, a very common one is the self area. When that gets so far down and so far out of balance, that's when we lose control of our life. That's when we lose control of everything that we're doing. We feel overwhelmed and stressed out. And so it's important to have that self-reflection time. And so that's one of the huge components to my coaching, is to look at yourself. And in self-reflection, we can determine, what is it that I'm lacking? What are the areas that I really need to focus on? How can I move forward? And as Whitney had mentioned, those baby steps are key into creating the bigger goals in the grand scheme of things, to this overall vision, because this doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to have big, massive changes as far as habits, routine, lifestyle. Those are not going to change overnight, but you're going to start to begin to flow into a new routine and develop new habits. And this new life is going to eventually emerge as you continuously implement new strategies and you put them into place. So it's a beautiful thing as we continue to evolve and we discover more about who we are and what's important to us.
Wow, that was a mouthful. I mean, you're right. I mean, the ultimate goal is to strive towards that happiness. And, I love the fact that you said we have to learn from our lessons. And my girlfriends and I, when we make a bonehead move or we make a huge colossal mistake, our go-to line is, well, did you learn from it? Well, then let's move on. You learned your lesson. Let's keep it moving. So yeah, I love that. And you just got to learn from your lessons and make those goals, which we ultimately don't do a lot. We kind of just, like you mentioned one time, we just try to go by memory and then nothing happens because you don't remember what we were trying to do. I love it.
Well, and I absolutely love what I do because it's so incredible when we realize our potential, we realize what is possible. And for so many of us, we feel like we have these limitations. We have these limited beliefs that I could never do that. I could never have my life like that. And I asked the question point blank, why not? Why do you believe that your life could not be more imbalanced, that you could not have more me time, more free time, more things that help you to feel more joyful so that you can give back more, so that you can make more of that impact? And a lot of the time when I ask that question, the person doesn't know what to say because the deal is that a lot of the time they haven't actually thought about it that deeply. So if we allow ourselves to go there and to really ask, well, I mean, why couldn't I? What is it that's preventing me from moving forward? Is it money? Is it my beliefs? Is it my mindset? Is it, experiences that I've had? Because there's always something that prevents us from taking that next step. And if we can figure what that is, then we can diminish it. We can get ourselves free from it and we can move forward.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes that next step is realizing it. It's a scary thought. Just trying to, you're asking folks to pretty much be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
why can't we reach for more? Where we're so complacent and so used to where we're being. So you're making them be uncomfortable. And that's really scary for some. I mean, it's scary for me sometimes. So I know I've had Sabrina ask me to be an uncomfortable and trying to pull more and more out of me. I'm like, I'm good.
Oh, wow. That is phenomenal, ladies. I'd like to lean in a little bit, Noelle, with these ladies and do a couple wrap-up questions. So, Whitney, you mentioned that you actually made time for business in your life. So you're posting something called Momming It Like a Boss. Share with us and our viewers your purpose and your passion for that.
Well, my purpose is to empower and uplift And, that's something that I decided to do after I had the babies. I learned life is kind of like a wave. You have to go with the flow and grow with it. If you go against the wave, you're going to keep getting exhausted. So Mom Like a Boss is like a vessel to share my journey with all the ladies out there, all the parents, people in general, the process that we have to go through, not just giving birth and going through pregnancy, but after that, the exhaustion that when you're breastfeeding, that takes the life out of you, and to still have to cook and clean for your kids and go to work, doing that, I wanted to show people if I can do it, you can do it. And also being able to take the time to invest in myself and say, you know what, I like thrifting. I'm going to get into a little side business where I can, uniquely pick out items for people that depending on their taste, and they love it, and that's a great thing. Why not love old school vintage? It's something that I'm completely into. I'm glad that I've been able to time block and not only fit in workout time due to my husband working full time. And sometimes I can't go to the gym. I can go outside in the backyard and do some squats and some sit-ups. And then, after the girls take a nap and they're feeding, I can go work on selling some of my banging vintage items. So it's just so great to be able to share what I'm capable of doing with twins after a C-section, and being able to say, if I can do it, let me help you do it. Let me be your accountability partner. Let me just be somebody to talk to, because when you're going through that stuff, nobody understands it but you. And that is the truth. Not everybody empathizes or understands the stress, the pain that you're going through. So if you're an open hand, like I want to be to those women, it's just uplifting to be able to have an open vessel to talk to, or see somebody that has gone through some challenges and got out of it and is in a better spot.
Whitney, you know what? You mentioned a word about empowerment and empowering mommies. I'd like to turn a question to Genesis on that same level. So Genesis, you also created a Facebook page that empowers mommies. Can you share with us how you do this, and why, and how this empowers your viewers?
Absolutely. So my page is called Crazy Mom TV, where we were creating weekly episodes that help to deal with overwhelm, stress, time management, all of that good stuff that us mamas deal with on a daily basis. And, I just can relate to it so much because I have 4 children, because I have 4 kids, 8 and under. They're all busy. They all have a lot of things going on. They all have a lot of needs. And I get it. I understand the frustrations and the hesitations of doing certain things. So what I've really done is taken a lot of my personal experiences and related them back to ways that I could use it on a coaching level. And I've created programs by putting together types of workflow management curriculum. We focus a lot on our energy levels. We focus a lot on just where we can be most productive, productivity tips. It just really comes down to, this is the most important question is, what do you truly want? What do you want your life to be? What does your ideal life look like? And when you can answer that question, you can create any type of plan of action that you want. It comes down to that end result that you're looking for. So if you can answer that question and create a timeline over the course of the next 90 days, I always like 90 days because I feel like that's really realistic. Sometimes 6 months, a year, 2 years can be a little bit more daunting. But when you look at 90 days, you can say that's doable, that's manageable. So just really looking at ways that you can minimize the stress and the daily stuff that's constantly occurring. And if we do look at what it is that it means for each individual to create their ideal life, we can backtrack and say, these are the steps that need to be taken in order to get those results. So with regard to my page and all of the coaching that I do, my main goal is for them to experience that ultimate level of fulfillment, happiness, and joy, and to be living life on their terms, for them to really, truly be feeling like I own my actions. Nobody else owns them. and I can make decisions for myself that are going to help myself grow, and it's going to make a direct impact on the way that I am associated with my family and all of the relationships. As Noelle had said, every single relationship that's a part of my life will be affected by this. So there's a lot of fun ways that we can do this. It doesn't have to be all serious stuff. We can giggle, we can laugh, we can say, you know what? My baby put her hand in the toilet earlier this morning and there was a bunch of stuff in there. So we do like to laugh and have fun because you have to. That's what life is about. It's about experiencing all of it, not just some of it.
Genesis, beautiful comment. One thing I want to bring to our listeners and viewers is both these mommies are smiling. They don't look haggard and worn out.
Amazing.
We are you ladies are representing well. So we want to thank Whitney and Genesis again for enlightening us on why the world is so excited about this fitness challenge, and also mommies, how they can time block and free up more of their time and be the best version of themselves. Noelle.
So I could listen to you ladies all day long, but unfortunately now we're in a sponsor break, and we're going to have a special treat real quick. For our Latino viewers, we're going to have Sylvia share some inspiring reasons why we should all join the Trendsetter Mentor group on Facebook, and why she enjoys the morning coffee mentoring so much. So when we come back, we're going to listen to Sylvia.
Well, thank you, Noel. Muchas gracias, Noel, por darme la oportunidad de hablar en español. ¿Por qué es importante escuchar los videos motivadores de Trendsetter Mentor Group, Morning Coffee o Café de la Mañana? Porque nos proporciona la extra energía que nosotros necesitamos, nos proporciona a tener más rendimiento con uno personal o profesional, nos hace salir de nuestra zona de confort. Uno de los videos motivadores que me gustó a mí personalmente fue el de la semana pasada. No sé si lo voy a poder pronunciar bien. Es de Iyanla Vanzant. Ella nos da 10 reglas para el éxito. De esas 10 reglas, a mí me gustaron 3. Nos dice cómo nutrir nuestra visión. Ama lo que haces. Deja de quejarte. Mantente simple. Negarse a fallar. Ser auténtico. Mantén tu claridad. Sé consciente contigo mismo. Ser bueno contigo mismo y ser claro. De esos 10, como les digo, a mí me gustaron 3. Y los 3 es nutrir tu visión. usar afirmaciones todos los días. Yo soy, I am, yo soy amor, yo soy fuerte, yo soy joven. Todos los días me lo digo en la mañana, todos los días, y eso es de implementarlo diariamente, el yo soy, porque es la persona que vas a traer al día. Si tú dices, oh, yo soy flojo, yo soy esto, es lo que uno va a traer. Pero si tú dices, yo soy amor, yo soy joven, es lo que uno se va a convertir. Otro es dejar de criticar o dejar de quejarte. Yo soy unas personas que hay veces en el día yo me quejo y aprendí de que no es bueno quejarse, porque cada vez que uno se queja tiene que poner una moneda en un vaso y es como un ahorro, vamos a tomarlo así. Este video salió la semana pasada, el miércoles. El jueves yo fui al gimnasio y empecé esa cosa no me gusta. Esta otra cosa que voy a hacer no me gusta. Esto tampoco. Entonces reflexioné y dije, ¿sabes qué? Deja de quejarte porque ya perdí 75 centavos en menos de 5 minutos por estarme quejando de algo que yo puedo hacer. Entonces es algo de que nos cambia la visión de cómo usar nuestro pensamiento y ser mejor persona. Ser bueno contigo mismo. Es como Whitney y Genesis, bloquean su tiempo para darse amor a ellas mismas, y es lo que tenemos que hacer nosotros también, bloquear ese tiempo para abrazarnos a nosotras mismas, diciéndonos, yay, no lo podemos hacer, tomar tiempo para hacer ejercicio, para meditar, para relajarnos, para hacer ejercicio, para perdonarnos y para ser mejores personas. Son excelentes videos motivadores que nos ayudan a salir de nuestra zona de confort y pensar mejor y ser mejores personas. Nosotros que estamos pivoting para todos los días tener esa energía que nosotros necesitamos para ayudarle a las personas a que sean mejores. Hasta mi hermana la puse a escuchar. Le digo, ¿sabes qué? Quiero que escuches este video. Y me dice, oh my God, es muy fascinante de escuchar. Y dice, a un amigo que estaba quejándose, dice, le tienes que mostrar ese video que me enseñaste para que él tome conciencia de que una de las reglas del éxito es no quejarse. Sabrina.
Sabrina, you're on mute.
Okay, am I off now?
You're good.
Okay, so thank you, Sylvia. I said one day I'll take my personal lesson on Spanish, one-on-one. But until then, we had a very empowering show today, and we want to thank our special guests, Whitney Gonzalez Hartford and Genesis Creek, for coming on and sharing with us the beauty of momhood and time blocking and scheduling those special moments in. We want to take a moment to thank our Thrive Tribe here, which is Noel Ramos, Gina Marie Casano, Sylvia Camacho, and Dana Washington for joining us today. Special thank you to our Thriving Women Network producer, Daryl A. Johnson, and CEO of SIBN Network and engineer Alan Chapin. Tune in to our new show, our sister show called Uncomfortable Conversations. It's a morning show every Wednesday at 8 a.m. You will enjoy that show. I've had the pleasure of hosting and listening, and it's phenomenal. We have Ricky Burney and Walter Parker that I'm sure will razzle and dazzle you. We have a new topic coming up. Do morals and ethics matter? So thank you, our Thrive Tribe. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you to our guests, and we will see you next week on Thriving Women Network.
You can follow all of our hosts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're interested in joining the Trendsetter Mentor Group or being a guest on Thriving Women Talk, email Daryl Johnson at npartners@yahoo.com.